idea of re-releasing Stu, put out a new record called I Want to Go With You in fall of last year that we were, of course, excited to go on the road for, and then that got squashed by COVID. But on it, we do a cover of David Bowie's, we did the song, I should remember it. We did and we totally took liberties with it, and it's one of those things where you wouldn't know until the chorus that it's Bowie's Modern Love, because the verses, the lyrics, people don't really know, and we did it in a totally different style. So our approach to covers has always been either do it like the MJ one, which we did pretty straight, except that it's an electric guitar playing the hook instead of a keyboard, or the Bowie one like we did with Modern Love, where it's unrecognizable until you get to the chorus what song it actually is.
I think personally that you guys did it justice, and I know with Michael's stuff, it of course is it can be very sticky situation with the families and the rights holders and stuff like that. So it's unfortunate that obviously that can't make it. So as you said earlier, of course that people can at least go out and listen to that across the internet. There's copies out there. I was able to find it. That means everybody else could probably find it. And it is a fantastic. You guys literally have to listen to this.
What kind of dark web were you on earlier, Tony? What else did you find?
How dark do I have to go to find this? I tell people all the time, if China wants to break into my computer, that's cool. I've got nothing to hide. And trust me, there are no
they already have.
Yeah, there are no schematics for anything that is even of use to them. They would be bored as shit looking through my computer.
It's like those people who tape the webcam. If you just want to see a guy staring at his computer in consternation, be my guest.
Yeah. You know what? I'd feel bad for anybody who tried to hack into my webcam. Nobody wants to see this walking around after a shower. Crazy.
Well, Shaun, are you? I think it's time we get into the next part of our show, which is my rapid fire questions. Are you ready for that?
As ready as I can be.
Brace yourself.
Away.
All right. Let's do it. We're gonna do. We'll do 20 quick questions. If you don't know the answer or don't want to answer, just say pass. And it's all right if you kind of, if they're a little longer than rapid. They usually tend to be on some of them. So. Let's do it.
All right.
Rapid fire question.
Question number 1. What made-up word would you register into the English language?
Ooh, a made-up word. When I'm stretching, I'm not quite at the point where I just grunt. I tend to say gazeer. So I would put gazeer into the colloquial lexicon as I've been sitting too long and I need to stand up and stretch. Gazeer.
I love that. And the fact that you had the definition already for us, that's amazing.
I'm going to make that sound when I'm making love to my wife later.
Gazeer.
Amazing.
Way to make that dirty, Matt.
You're welcome. Question 2. What is the scariest dream that you can remember?
Dreams are weird. The thing that stuck with me that I remember is that I was standing in water and I had an inflatable tent that was floating away from me, and I awoke in such a panic and horror that it was as if I was being, chased by the devil. But dreams are so symbolic, and things I don't know if it was, my life floating away or whatever. It's the kind of thing that when you explain in daylight means nothing at all. But in the dream, watching everything float away in that tent as I was stuck in the water was terrifying. Maybe some armchair Freudian is going to tell me that I'm, deathly afraid of something natural because of that. But that was the scariest dream I can remember, is everything floating away.
As long as you didn't wake up in a pile of your own pee, that's
Oh man, again.
Don't understand why I keep having this dream.
What superpower would you take if you could pick any?
Flight. Always
Yep.
flight. Every time flight.
All right.
Nice. What was your earliest childhood memory?
I remember being at my grandmother's, and my parents had got me. Oh no, actually, this is my very first memory. My dad's parents grew up in rural Saskatchewan, raised their families there. My grandmother was Métis, and my grandfather worked the ferry across the Saskatchewan River, and they lived in this old farmhouse that was, for a kid, it was like a playground. They had no running water. They had a well that they would draw water from the kitchen, and a basement that was just a dirt cellar, just like a farmhouse, which to me was fascinating. And I remember being under the table while the grown-ups were having a party and having a bottle of 5-star liquor that you could peel the star off of. And I'd peeled the star off and put it on my shirt like I was a sheriff. And I was sitting under the table, and this is the 70s, so that I was just playing with one of the bottles of liquor and sloshing it back and forth with the lid on. I wasn't drinking any. And the sound that the liquor made in this really thick old bottle going blink, blink, blink was fascinating to me. I remember the noise of it just being spellbinding. Like I was sitting there playing with this bottle of alcohol with a plastic faux sheriff star on my chest.
That's amazing. That's a good one.
And parents are worried nowadays about their kids. Clearly, you know what? Like, we grew up okay. Maybe you should be letting your kids play a little more.
Man, a
bunch of liquor
probably
bottles.
Drove there with me standing in the back window of the car. You know, it was the 70s.
Yep. Yeah, I never had to put a seatbelt on. You know, Dad hits the brakes, you fly onto the floor. It was no big deal.
Yeah, Daddy will catch you.
Yep.
Don't worry.
All right, next question. What activity makes you the happiest?
Oh, man, my 8-year-old daughter is now really into singing and improvising and playing. And so whenever she and I are spontaneously writing a song, or if she asks me to play guitar so she can sing a song or sing in one of our songs, those are the moments of the purest joy in my life. So making music with my 8-year-old daughter.
That's awesome.
Yep, that's a good one. All right, next question. What foreign language would you choose to learn if you could?
Well, it feels like learning Mandarin would probably be a useful thing heading into the coming years, and certainly with just the complexity of it. If you could just sort of wink and know a language, I think that would be a really useful one to have at your disposal.
That's a great choice.
Yeah, that's probably mine too.
Yep.
I think. If you could relive a decade, which one would you choose?
I'm torn because I wish that I could, if I could send a message back to me in the 90s, it would have been buy disposable cameras or always have a camera with film around, because a bunch of stuff is going to happen and you think you're going to remember it and be able to relive it, but maybe you won't, and you'll love to look at what few photos there are of this time now. So if I could relive the 90s, it would be partly just so I could archive more of it and take more photos for the Instagram era. And when we revisit, we're releasing Stew. I'd love to have, here's a bunch of photos of us in the studio making it. Here's us touring with the Stones right after. Here's us doing this, and here's photos of us with them. And I it was one of those things that there was always maybe someone around taking a photo or two, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now to go, hey, everyone, let's mark this moment with the thing in my phone that can save it forever.
Especially after the 5th time you toured with the Stones, if you didn't have a camera and take pictures of that, and you're like, what was I thinking?
All 5 times. Damn it.
Right? I didn't learn a thing.
Right. Well, and then it was like, well, where are we going to put this? You know, in a book somewhere versus, we could share this with people. So either that or it'd be kind of trippy to go back to the first bunch of years of your life and relive those. I think I'd opt for that if I had to choose.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What? Do you have a go-to joke?
If we're exhausted and doing a photo shoot and it's into the 11th hour and we're just trying to think of ways to not go crazy, or if we're driving for an airport, I don't even know if there's a beginning of the joke. I just know that it will make Saf and I laugh like crazy if we're really tired. If one of us says, ping pong balls, I thought you said King Kong balls. And just to imagine the preamble that leads up to that, which there probably is an official beginning to that joke, but to me, just the end of it is funny. Anything that would lead to someone saying that is funny to me.
That's awesome. Amazing.
That's awesome. How would you spend $100 million?
Ooh. Well, I would certainly give a lot of it away because nobody needs $100 million. So it would be a pretty full-time occupation, I think, to select the places to be, to donate to.
Mm-hmm.
And then with a bit of it that I would keep, I love traveling, and it seems like the only way you could really travel now is it would be pretty expensive to, I don't know, try out private jets or something like that. Yes. But yeah, there would be a lot of travel and a very nice studio on my property to come home to if I was to win millions.
Very cool.
Good. Yeah.
What's your biggest pet peeve? What gets on your nerves?
Ooh, good question. I know bands have broken up for lesser things than a one-time band member refusing to eat with their mouth closed, but it's something that has broken up bands, and it almost broke up ours at certain points.
Okay, yeah.
All right,
that's
fair.
legit.
That's
good. Legit. Yeah.
Very cool. What was the last thing that you did just for yourself?
Interesting question. The last thing I did just for myself was, I will sit down. Someone asked me what my guilty pleasure was in another interview, and I think this falls into the same thing, which for me is I tend to have some guitar tones that really speak to me, and when I play through them, they feel like I'm speaking with my voice. So for guitar nerds, it'd be like, tube Fender amps with a fuzz pedal and not a bunch of effects, and that sounds like me. If we fly into a date and I see that there are 2 Fender Super Reverbs there, I know that I'm going to sound like me no matter what. And the thing that I'll do for myself is, after I've put my wife and my daughter to sleep, I have software on my phone that emulates a bunch of different amps and pedals, and I'll plug in a lap steel or a guitar to it and play for an hour or so using a bunch of tones that I never have used on records, with effects that I haven't delved into. And the thing I'll do for myself is, when the day's over, when all my responsibilities and work are done, I'll just improvise for an hour, maybe sipping some scotch or something, and just go. And oftentimes song ideas come from these sessions, but often it's not even about that. It's like meditation or yoga, and I'm not conscious of what I'm playing. Maybe I'm playing along with a record, or maybe I'm just making stuff up, and I'll just go, and almost like the Hulk after, I'll come to and go, oh, what happened to the last hour? Where was I? What was I doing? I was playing guitar, and and it just feel relieved, like someone after a hot yoga session, just being content and happy.
Very cool.
Sweet.
Very cool. What's the best thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, one of my favorite things about touring is trying all the different food. And our tour of China was certainly, there were some spectacular things and some